Chat GPT, I ask AI. It's like AI is becoming their new tutor, really. So, how do you think the role of tutors in AI is really, evolving in terms of the study pattern for the students, really?
But the opportunities that this will give you and your families in life are countless. Being a qualified accountant, there will always be a demand for good accountants in any economy and in any market. Super exciting. And for those that are embarking on their ACCA journey, you are making the best decision. The career opportunities that it will give you are phenomenal, and it can take you anywhere in the world, not just the lovely India.
So India is like the GCC capital of the world, and the future is in India, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Is where, if you ask anyone where the growth is coming from, it's definitely India.
It is India, absolutely. Hello everyone, and welcome to another podcast at the Wall Street School. Today's podcast is really special for me because it takes me back to 2006 when I started off with my ACCA journey in London. And my companion for my ACCA journey was BPP Professional College, Shepherd's Bush Campus, UK. And today I have a very special guest with me, straight from BPP, all the way from UK to India, here at our office. Welcome to the podcast, Barry.
Thank you, Shilpi. Really excited to be, and very excited to be with one of our BPP alumni.
Wonderful. So let me very quickly introduce Barry. So Mr. Barry Hall Rain is an FCCA all the way from UK and is the head for Global Tuition Provider Solutions at BPP. Now, let me very quickly introduce BPP to you as well. So BPP for me personally has not just been a content provider for ACCA, but my companion for all my studies, for all my ACCA papers back in 2006. And believe you me, I totally 100% vouch for the content of BPP, for your exam preparedness for ACCA. So, Barry, welcome to the podcast. Let's quickly begin with the first question. Because you've come all the way from UK to India, the first question is obviously going to be, how do you foresee the Indian accounting market? How do you think that it has grown in the last decade maybe, and what is the future in size?
India market is one of the most exciting markets at this time. If you look at how the ACCA in particular has grown, just even over the past 3 years, you were looking at exponential growth, which means that the quality of the people that it's producing and the demand for the qualification is higher than it's ever been.
Absolutely. But I think India as a market per se is one of the most biggest market for accountants all across the globe, isn't it?
Absolutely is. And in terms of student volumes, again, it's right at the top, which is, a fairly new venture. Also spending time with corporates is what's great to see is how well the recognition of the ACCA qualification has changed with employers. So it means that the amount of roles and jobs that are available are now more than they've ever been.
Absolutely. And I think it's only growing and growing from, ever again. So this is something which is like on the upside, really.
Absolutely. It's honestly super exciting. And for those that are embarking on their ACCA journey, you are making the best decision. The career opportunities that it will give you are phenomenal, and it can take you anywhere in the world, not just the lovely India.
I always vouch it, I always vouch the ACCA qualification as your global passport, really. So it can take you places. But before that, we definitely do a reality check in terms of where we are sitting right now. So in India itself, the demand is much, much higher than literally the supply of qualified ACCAs as we speak, isn't it?
Correct.
So not just only moving abroad, like in India as well, you have multiple opportunities. And in fact, if you look at the ACCA's career portal, every single day, Big Fours, Big Tens are hiring for ACCAs. They are, scouting for ACCA professionals. So that is how big the market really is.
Oh, absolutely. And as said, just before I came here to do this podcast, I was with a corporate client, and they were really bigging up the quality of the qualification and what value it brings to them as an organization, because businesses are not just confined to operating within India. Businesses are now global due to the way we operate.
So India is like the GCC capital of the world, and the future is in India, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Is where, if you ask anyone where the growth is coming from, it's definitely India.
It is India, absolutely. So that brings me to my next question, Barry. There's a lot of hue and cry or ruckus over the fact that probably AI will, take over the accountant's role. What's your take on that?
First of all, I think AI is fantastic. I think it's another exciting opportunity. I think the way you need to think about it is, how's it going to change my role, not necessarily remove my role. I think in terms of how AI specifically will impact the accounting profession, I think it'll take a lot of the low-level, mundane, routine tasks away, creating a lot of efficiencies and sparing up time for employees to really add value. So if you think about the qualification, it's you learn to analyze information, you learn to say, what is the data telling me? I think those are the kind of skills that we're going to see become a lot more important as you progress through your accountancy careers. You won't be processing information. It'll be more about, well, what is this information telling me and how does this aid a decision?
So strategic decision making is what, will be the real game changer, which no AI can probably replace, isn't it?
No, because you need that human interaction, don't you, to evaluate the data. Now, I think AI will probably evolve very quickly to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, you still need that human element to add that value. And I think the most exciting bit for me is, if you think about the role of an accountant, traditionally it's been kind of a role that is necessary. You have to have accountants in a business in order to produce financial information. I think with the introduction of AI doing a lot of the doing, people will start to see the value that an accountant can bring to their organization, which in turn will really increase the opportunities that I think are available.
Absolutely, yes. And I think, with new and growing roles like the chief value officer, what value are you actually adding to, your profile is what makes a difference, really.
Absolutely.
I think AI is great, and AI is something that we all must embrace in order to stay in the system and be relevant for the future as well. In fact, having said that, ACCA itself is obviously a very progressive qualification, as we all know it.
Yeah.
And with the 2027 changes that ACCA has, plotted into its curriculum, with a whole lot of AI and sustainability being, inculcated into the curriculum itself, we know that we are preparing an accountant who is ready for the future and the future job roles as well. So I think this is a great qualification to actually, get into.
You're absolutely right. And it's really quite awesome to see the evolution of the qualifications. And I think they kind of hit the mark there by integrating AI at multiple levels across the full qualification itself. It's definitely needed.
Absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much for that answer, Barry. On to my next question now. And this is now a little bit more subject specific, I would say, like ACCA and the integration of BPP as we have it.
Yeah.
So back in 2006, when I did my ACCA, so like I said, my only companion, the only resource I actually, referred to was BPP. Yeah. And that was sufficient for me to pass all my exams in single attempt.
Correct.
In fact, I had topped the entire UK in the taxation paper. BPP was kind enough to give me an iPod, as I very, fondly remember, being the UK topper of taxation paper. So BPP is something which has always been there. It's one of the, I think, the oldest content partners for ACCA.
Correct. Yes, yeah.
So how do you reckon with the evolution of the ACCA Study Hub coming into the picture, which is very much like the content from the institute itself? Mm-hmm. How much do you think that, BPP, is it still relevant? Is it something that complements the Study Hub? Is it something which is still non-negotiable for every student to be able to pass the ACCA exam? What's your take on it?
It's a great question, Shilpi, and actually one that we get quite a lot. And I think actually, if you look at the ACCA website, it gives you the answer. It's the other way round. The Study Hub is a great supplementary tool to content that, for example, that BPP produces. So the way we look at it, the way the ACCA looks at it is, right, you need various elements to be successful. Most importantly, you need a great provider like the Wall Street School and like Shilpi, who might be teaching you. They will provide you with the resources, the teaching notes, the slides, and they will teach you everything that you need to know. But what you need to do is then supplement that with other skills. And those other skills is the application side. And that's where the content, for example, from BPP and the ACCA come into play. It's the additional resources that really instill that deeper understanding of what you've been taught in the classroom. So does it still have relevance? 100%. Will it continue to have relevance? 100%. I would recommend everybody utilizes that content as part of their study journey.
Absolutely bang on, Daddy. I feel that, yes, there are a plethora of resources which are available out there. You come to the class, you gain that technical knowledge.
Yeah.
But the real game changer in the exam is application of that knowledge.
Yeah.
So how exam ready you are will be dependent upon the amount of practice that you have done.
Correct. Yeah.
So each and every question from BPP, if you have kind of, done it, that confidence that you will walk into the exam center will be on a completely different high.
Totally agree. I mean, that's a great point, in fact. And if you think about how the content is produced, there'll be some past ACCA exam questions that are replicated but updated for later standards or changes in exam style. But actually, our people who produce the content are all qualified accountants from practice. So these are people that teach these papers, that have practical experience of applying that knowledge within an industry or practice environment. So you can trust that that quality is of the highest standard. We're not an institute. We don't set a syllabus. We actually produce content based on practical knowledge and experience. What I would say is just a word of warning, and I think, Shilpa, you said this. There's a lot of content out there. You need to make sure that you use valid, accredited, recognized content such as BPP, such as the ACCA Study Hub.
I totally agree upon what you said, that, and I think that's where our role as mentors come in, to guide and navigate the students with the right set of tools that they need to probably, get into and prepare themselves for the upcoming quarter's exam. So that is something that, is very critical, really.
That's great advice. I mean, students listen to what she'll be saying. She's speaking true sense. Really good stuff.
Thank you so much for that, Barry. And that leads me to my next question, really. Somebody who's just literally, starting off with their ACCA journey, maybe, what would be the most essential to-dos advice from your end, coming in from your vast experience, not just only academically, but, grooming on the soft skills bit as well, grooming in skills that are required for the future. So what would be your key takeaways or key must-dos for every aspiring accountant out there?
It's a great question. And I myself am a qualified accountant. I too, as with you, I studied at BPP, so I can empathize. I understand the journey that you guys are going through or you're about to embark on. What I would say is think about the end game. Okay, you got 3 years of hard work, but the opportunities that this will give you and your families in life are countless. Being a qualified accountant, there will always be a demand for good accountants in any economy and in any market. So I would say, remind yourself that as you're going through the journey, work hard. And if you think about it, it's only maximum 3 years of your life, assuming you start right from the beginning, potentially a year if you've got exemptions. Work hard, listen to the advice of your lecturers. They know their stuff.
Absolutely.
They will give you guidance that is structured, that will be practical in nature, and try and understand the concepts and don't learn it. You should never learn.
Doesn't help in ACCA exams. Absolutely.
Correct. You can't pass if you're
even if you copy paste the entire content of the book, you will not pass the ACCA exam.
Absolutely.
Unless you apply your knowledge. That is the key. I keep telling this to the students.
It's true though, but you have to keep on doing it. It's all about application. What application does is actually makes the concepts realistic. So therefore it makes it understandable, doesn't it? And it makes it so much easier to retain that information.
Absolutely, bang on. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Barry, for your insights on that. That brings me to my next question. Today students come and tell me that, ma'am, I had a query. I asked ChatGPT, I asked AI. It's like AI is becoming their new tutor, really. So how do you think the role of tutors in AI is really, evolving in terms of the study pattern for the students, really?
I think you can't get away with it. I think you need to just be careful. What you need to remember is AI has limitations. Take ChatGPT or any AI tool as an example. The limitations are AI hallucinates. So it learns based on inputs. So if the incorrect inputs are input into ChatGPT, it's going to spit out incorrect inputs or incorrect outputs. What I would say is I would use it as a study tool, but not as the gospel word. The data or the information that your tutors give you is what you need to follow in terms of advice. So what you can do, and you can use it quite cleverly, is you could put a concept into ChatGPT. So let's say I want to learn about an impairment of a non-current asset. It's a topic that I struggle with. I can type into ChatGPT and say, right, can you explain this to me in a simplistic way, assuming I have no knowledge? And then take that and then relate it to what your tutor has taught you and identify the synergies. But what I would not do is use it as a study tool.
Then only tutor provider, basically.
Absolutely. You need your tutors. Tutors are not replaceable. The value that your tutor gives you is insurmountable, and no technology can surpass that.
Perfect. And I completely vouch for that. And this is I've literally shown the students, okay, let's take up a question. So I would just input a question in ChatGPT and show them the solution vis-a-vis the right solution. So sometimes, yes, it is right. And sometimes it might just make some, it just might just make some silly mistakes as well, based upon the input that has already been there. So it is not 100% reliable. This cannot be your only resource that you are studying for.
You're spot on. And the reason behind that is AI doesn't understand the exam syllabus and doesn't understand the marking schemes. So it'll produce an answer that's probably technically okay, but not sufficient to get you enough marks to pass that question. So, that's a great point. I'm glad you raised that.
Wonderful. And that brings me to my next question, really. So somebody who is venturing onto the next ACCA exam, like what would be your top 5, must-dos or non-negotiable pointers really there?
Okay, first thing, attend your classes.
Absolutely.
Don't skip. Honestly, I know it's hard work and, it's intense when you're there, but actually the value that you get from, and the privilege that you have by being in front of an expert that really knows what they're talking about invaluable. So attend your classes first and foremost. Secondly, I'd say any assessments that you are given as part of your journey. So these are your online assessments or your class assessments that you do as you learn a concept. Do them, okay? Because that's how we learn. As a student, we learn by doing.
Absolutely.
And by getting the feedback, right? That's where we know what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. Identify your weaknesses and then work with your tutor to close that gap so a weakness becomes a strength. Thirdly, I would say follow the structured guidance that your tutor gives you. Is what you will notice, and I can vouch for the quality of tutors here at WallStreet, is that they're all experienced and they have a very good way in which you are advised on how to approach questions in the exam. And most of that approach is going to be following a structured methodology. So first of all, read the requirement, identify the verb. What does this mean in terms of how I present my answer? What does this mean in terms of the performer I need to generate if not given in the exam? Step 2, then decipher the information, analyze it. Where's it relevant to the requirement? Follow that guidance to the letter. It's designed twofold. 1, to manage your time in the exam, and 2, to earn the easy marks.
Absolutely.
Because would you agree, Shilpi, in every exam, there is always a high proportion of what we would define as easy marks.
True that.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Barry. I think that was the spot on, suggestion that we could give to every student who aspires to pass. So yes, your classes are non-negotiable. You have to come down to the classes. The way we track, the students' progress here is that we conduct progress tests.
Yes.
So after every 3 to 4 chapters, come down to the class, let's sit down for a test, let's see where you are. That shows me whether, you've gone back home, done your revision, did your practice questions or not. So it's a real-time check that we're doing to the students. Yeah. And then definitely, application of your knowledge that only will come with practice. The more you practice, the more prepared you are for the exam. Not just only, section A, B, C type of questions. Once the syllabus is over, I think mock exams is something which is extremely critical, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can't get away with those. I believe you guys get up to about 3 mock exams, which is great. Those are non-negotiable again. Do them. If you fail, it's okay. Remember, it's a learning journey. Identify where you went wrong, and then you've still got time to make it right before you do the exam.
It's highly advisable for you to, fail in your mock exam than failing in the actual exam. So, been there, done that. Let's just get rid of the non-negotiable things, and that is how you will be exam ready, isn't it?
I totally agree. And also, don't try and cram your studies in at the end as the 5th thing, is study in small increments, because that will increase your retention rate. Practice the application bit, the doing means you retain more statistically. I think a student who reads something retains 10% of information, whereas if they do it, they retain 80%. That's a big differential. And that'll make your life a lot easier.
I think, once you've done it yourself, your own level of confidence on that particular topic just goes, miles apart. Because you've done it, the answer is correct, you've gone through the model answer.
Yeah.
You're fairly there, that, this particular concept is sorted for you. So I think that's a great way of, learning really.
You're absolutely right. And I got a question for you, Shilpi. Model answers you just mentioned. Is it realistic to assume that a student should be producing the answers that you would see in the the books.
Model answers are model answers. They are not there to be replicated in the actual exam. And they practically cannot be replicated in the actual exam as well. They are there to give you an insight into what the examiner is looking for you to be able to structure your answer on fairly the same grounds. If you're covering, say the model answers say about 10 points, covered say 7 to 8 of them in the actual exam, given them with honesty in terms of the application, the application, the scenario that is required. You're there. You're sorted.
You're right.
So that is something that really helps the students prepare for the actual exam. So reading through the model answers, I feel, is extremely important as well, because that gives you a fair idea of what more you could have written apart from what you already have written.
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head there. Remember, your job as a student is not to get 100% right. Your job is to pass and pass well. So the 7 or 8 out of 10 is a good way to aim. And you also need to remember, what is it that the examiners are testing? They're testing skills, the ability to apply that technical skill, but they're also, one of those skills is actually the ability to pass within the allocated time. You may not finish everything, and that's okay.
So that 1.8 minutes per mark rule is extremely important. I tell my students, drop dead once your time allocation is over. It's better to move on to the next question, get the easy marks out of the next question than trying to solve something which you're probably not struggling to solve already. So these are simple techniques which I think every ACCA student must definitely follow. Yeah,
this is music to my ear. Yeah, it sounds like I'm just standing in the classroom saying the same stuff. I totally agree. It's you earn the easy marks quicker than spending too much time on the stuff you can't do. Don't worry about it. Move on and you'll earn more marks. Great advice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Barry, for this time that you've spent with us. This really insightful conversation that you've had with me, and shared your global perspectives with the students who are on the verge of starting off with their ACCA journey, feeling a little skeptical in terms of, is this the right qualification for me or not? What will AI do to my future? And everything that you really need to become that globally recognized professional accountant that an ACCA becomes really. So thank you so much for your time, Barry.
No, you're more than welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.